Like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates.
Save our species. More and more farmers are choosing to combine conservation with agriculture, and the benefits are paying off. Helen Huggins is back on the once mighty merino sheep station in the southern Riverina, near the New South Wales-Victoria border, that she used to call home. This runs through my blood, this property. All good memories of a lovely and happy childhood. Owen and Helen Huggins have fenced off a quarter of their property for conservation. ABCRN, Belinda Sommer She and her brothers used to ride horses through the paddocks of Savernake Station, touching the tops of the saplings. The four-part Shifting Culture series explores respect for country, ancient knowledge and the way new technologies are changing our relationship to nature. We just used to go flat out through all these trees like you do when you're young. I was a bit like a tomboy. I just went into nature, and I'd ride my pony and take in all this. But things have changed. The trees have gotten bigger. You could bend some of them over, then, but you wouldn't be doing that now, she says. Other things have changed too. Huggins is one of a growing number of Australian farmers opting to combine conservation with agriculture, and dedicating a portion of their land to save Australia's threatened biodiversity. Conservationists before their time. Savernake Station is renowned for its pastoral history, but also for its large white cypress pines and other old trees. They appreciated the bushland and understood that the sandy soils of this section of the property made it less suitable for grazing. We wouldn't have had any sheep or cattle here for over 100 years. So, we're grateful for the foresight of my previous generations to have locked this area up. They were conservationists before their time, especially my father, who put into all his children that we looked after the country and the country looked after you, Huggins says. She took his words to heart. In 2018, she signed a conservation agreement with the New South Wales Biodiversity Conservation Trust to protect her portion of Savernake Station. She has registered the protection of 355 hectares on the property's title, setting the arrangement in place forever. The agreement with the trust requires the land be preserved as woodland, and weeds and feral animals like rabbits and foxes must be controlled. In return, Huggins receives an annual indexed payment. Her current home, Woodpark, is 90 kilometres away from Savernake Station. In 2018, she and husband Owen introduced a similar, in perpetuity arrangement on their merino stud. They've fenced off a quarter of their 7,600 hectare property for conservation, and the results are impressive. Saltbush, butterbush, boree trees and river red gums are regenerating, and the calls of the critically endangered plains wanderer have been heard on Woodpark. A devastating bushfire in January 1987 marked a turning point for the couple and their approach to farming on the property. A lot of the stock were removed. We had no real rain till June that year. As late as May, there was still clouds of black, swirling dust and loose sand. Rain eventually came, and what we began to see was how the land could recover if we let it, Owen Huggins says. After thinking deeply about how a conservation agreement and lower stock numbers may impact the income and land value of Woodpark, they agreed that the benefits outweighed any reservations. The environmental benefits have flow-on effects. The merino wool produced on Woodpark has just been given sustainable certification by New Zealand Merino and will be sold into the premium market. They also receive a premium price for their beef cattle. Nature-based solutions. The ANU's Professor David Lindenmayer is a leading expert on forest ecology and conservation science. He supports paying farmers who are willing to protect habitat on their property, provided there's strong monitoring and transparency about what's happening on the ground. Approximately 55% of Australia's land mass is private land that's used for agriculture and grazing. Those areas have enormous opportunities to restore the vegetation cover in part, and better balance agricultural production with biodiversity, he says. There are also opportunities for carbon capture and storage, he adds. Professor Lindenmayer cites Australia's stark record on biodiversity loss as a reason for trying new approaches. There have been 34 mammal extinctions since colonization, and there are big declines in frogs and reptiles. 1 in 6 Australian birds are now threatened. And beyond that, some species are occupying only a tiny part of their former range, like the greater bilby which once lived across vast areas of Australia, he says. Recent research led by a University of Queensland team has found that 48% of